here in Wisconsin? You guys rock. Y'all know how to party. Should be all night long. Yeah, you should be all night long. Tell me your name.
Nancy.
And
Dick.
okay. So you guys are foster parents. How long have y'all been doing foster?
9 years.
9 years. And what inspired you to do that?
I guess the idea of having kids out there who don't have a home, who need a home, and not enough people wanting to do it.
Yeah. How many children have you fostered?
38 have gone through our home.
Wow.
38, ranging from newborn to 18 years old.
So Thanksgiving must be pretty
Interesting.
pretty
Can be, yes.
pretty interesting.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Holidays are great.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
So your current situation, you have I just met your lovely kids. They're really cute.
We have 3 biological,
Yeah.
and we've adopted 6.
Right.
Hopefully 7 soon.
Huh.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
But, so some of them come for a little while and some come forever.
Yeah. Do you think you were saying that earlier that there's not a lot of help for foster kids?
No, there is not. There's not support groups. There's not enough support groups. There are in larger cities. You go to Milwaukee, Madison, the big cities. But you come to these small little towns, and we don't have the support groups or the necessary things around for us. So we don't have a support group here in Kewaunee County. Brown County might have, which is Green Bay. They might have a few, but there's not enough. There's not enough, and these kids they shuffle, and what happens is social workers have too many kids and not enough people. Their caseloads are so big that they can't keep up with what is happening with these kids. So these kids get lost in the shuffle. Happens all the time.
How does it work with the social workers? Is it statewide or is it regional or?
Every county has social workers, and then when kids become terminated, they become wards of the state. So then a state social worker gets involved. State social workers, usually what happens is the state will contract out to private entities to do it. So they'll have other organizations who will have their social workers involved, but yet they still have too many cases, not enough social workers. Social workers are very grossly underpaid for what they have to do.
What happens when a kid falls through the cracks?
What happens? How? So, what do you mean, how? What happens? What happens? They end up getting aged out of the foster care system and lost in the shuffle. Kewaunee does a very good job. Our county does a good job because we're smaller and they really connect with the kids. You get to some of these large counties, these kids age out, they turn 18, 19 years old, and that's it, they're done. There's not as much help for them anymore. So a lot of them end up having children when they're not ready to have children, getting into situations that they're not prepared for, and we would hope that they're getting the services they need before that happens, but there's too many that start the cycle all over again, and then they end up having children who are going to end up in the foster care system and in the same situation that they're in.
Right.
Because we don't have the support services out there for these kids.
Yeah. The age in Illinois is 18 or 21?
For kids in, Wisconsin is 18.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
Excuse me.
They
I'm a little confused.
18,
I'm moving
18,
so fast.
18, they age out at 18. 18, if they're done with high school, if they're still in high school, they'll help them until they graduate from high school in Wisconsin. So every state varies. It depends on their age limits.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Kids.
Beautiful.
Cute. What are some of the most extreme cases that you've seen?
Probably the physical abuse kids that come in. For little kids, it's usually physical or sexual abuse, which are the most extreme that we deal with. The older kids, a lot of times, it's just very dysfunctional families where parents don't know how to parent, and maybe that's the key. Maybe instead of teaching sex ed to these kids, we should be teaching parenting skills to kids so that when they become parents, they know what they're doing. Because too many of them become parents very young, don't know what they're doing, and people don't know when to stop, and they don't have the patience because they've never been taught. You have to fill out background checks to adopt a dog or a cat from the pound, but you can just have a baby and here you go, here's your baby, and take care of it.
Yeah.
So,
what changes would you make in the foster care system if you were in charge in the state of Wisconsin?
More programming, more services, more social workers. Find the money to get the social workers so that these kids are getting the service they need. They don't have the services needed for them to, some kids stay I talked to a family from another county. They've had a little girl for 9 years, and her rights haven't been terminated yet. So for 9 years, this little girl is going between biological family, foster family, and they've had her since she was a baby. So she's got 2 moms and 2 dads, and not yet terminated. So she's sort of sitting out there in limbo. This is the parents that are raising me, but these are my mom and dad over here. Who do I belong to? So they need to, our federal government is saying we need to terminate these kids if they're out of the home 15 months out of 24 consecutive months. We need to terminate them. We need to work on getting them the parental rights terminated so that they can have permanency. But yet that's not being followed the way it should be. There's not a lot of permanency out there for these kids. Imagine yourself if you were 8 years old and maybe by the time you're 12 you've been in 3 or 4 different foster homes. Who's mom and dad? Who do you go to? When you're an adult, when you're growing up and you're a teenager and you're having problems, my kids will call me up and say, "Mom, I can't. How do I wash this shirt?" Who do these kids call up to ask those simple questions? How much? How do I put a turkey in at Thanksgiving to roast it? How do I wash my clothes? My car broke down. What do I need to do? They don't have that support system because they've never established any support while they were in foster care. Some of them do, and don't get me wrong. There are families where, we have kids that never leave, and they will always come back here. And there are good foster homes out there, but our media watch any TV show whenever there's foster kids involved. It's always bad foster homes. Look at the bad people that take care of these kids. These are people who are in it for the money. That's all they care about is getting that paycheck. It was just on CSI, I believe, there was an episode where they went to a home and it was a foster home and there's beer cans and a mess thrown all over, and they portray foster parents as being horrible people. So when people look at you, when you say, "Oh, I do foster care," one of the first questions we get is, "Are you in it for the money?" And it's like, "Oh yeah, there's lots of money. I have that home, in the Bahamas." There's not a lot of money in it. You don't do it for the money. You do it because you care about the kids and you want them to hopefully have a life and succeed in the life that they have.
Yeah.
But that's not a guarantee that they will. We hope. We have hope. If we didn't have hope, we wouldn't have David living with us right now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Would you say that there's a disconnect, like if a kid is shuffled around a little bit like that? What I'm seeing and hearing from the kids is there becomes a disconnect. They just remove themselves emotionally from the situation.
The three sibling group, the sibling group of 3 we just adopted, and the youngest one is 5, and her first 4 years of her life were her 4th set of parents.
Yeah.
So imagine, by the time you're 4, having 4 moms already and 4 dads.
Yeah.
Of course they're going to disconnect. And what they do is they build that big brick wall around them because I'm not letting these people in. Why should I let them in? Why should I care about them or have them care about me when they're just going to push me to somebody else? There's that, and that's what I mean when they don't have permanency. That's why we need to work harder at getting these kids permanent homes so that they don't have that disconnect. Because can you imagine being 4 years old and having your 4th mom now? I hope they understand that they're never leaving. They're here for good. But how do we know? We don't know for sure if they're understanding what we told them.
Right.
We hope so.
Have the rights been terminated for these kids?
Oh yeah. You can't adopt them unless the rights
are
are
terminated.
terminated.
So you've adopted them?
Yes.
Yep, all of them are.
Oh,
Yep.
all right, okay.
We let them go. We actually let them, after they came, go when we adopted Charity. so they could actually see that we actually do adopt kids and keep them, rather than having them think maybe they're not, they're just going to get passed on again,
Right.
like they had before.
Right.
So,
And have you seen a difference in them now that they know that?
The behaviors from the previous foster parents that had them told us that there were these extreme horrible behaviors, and we have yet to have encountered any of those extreme horrible behaviors that they've said that they had. So I truly believe that because they have permanency in its structure and stability, and they know they're not going anywhere, they're settling in much better. I sure hope so anyways. Or maybe there's this hidden agenda that we don't know about yet, but probably not.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they need permanency. That's the most important thing for these kids. So.
Well, thank you very much.
Sure.
Yeah.